Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Convos.dev. My name is Chris.
And I am Jess, and today we're going to be talking about Cluley, which hopefully you've heard of already, but if you haven't, I can give a little rundown. So, Cluley is a company that was founded recently by a Harvard dropout, and there's a lot of like kind of scandals and interesting things around it, and I'm not going to go super deep into it, but I mostly want to talk about Cluley's like marketing and distribution strategy because it's been very interesting for me to watch over the past couple of weeks. So Chris knows a little bit less. So I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown to Chris, and I've written down some notes here. So essentially, they have like very provocative messaging, which is the idea is that they're telling people to cheat on everything. The actual product is just essentially UI layer on your screen that can like watch everything that's happening on your screen and kind of like give you notes in real time. And it's really good for like coding. They're selling it for like coding interviews, sales calls, and that's just general like talking with people. And I think their ad that they did was like with VR glasses. I don't know if they've actually released VR glasses, but I think they're giving this like product that's like this layer over everything that you see and do, but it's telling you what to say and giving you research notes in the moment, all that stuff. I was like looking into a lot of their like marketing distribution strategy, and they're all about like virality and distribution. So a couple of the things that they've done is they will hire like employees or people, contractors, I don't know, to literally just create hundreds and hundreds of viral ideas and then go execute on those videos. They hire a lot of UGC creators. They also buy out a lot of like ghost Instagram or TikTok accounts to just like put all of their videos onto, just like spamming a lot of their videos. And there's a podcast with the founder, and he was talking about how he like recruits a lot of like hot female content creators because like their faces are like viral hooks in themselves and stuff like so you get the vibe, right? And he like believes in like kind of like that engagement bait kind of thing. But then it's very interesting because you hear more about his philosophy and it's actually like he believes that this is more authentic. That this style of distribution or talking about things is more authentic. Like it feels like he's breaking through like corporate sheen in a way, like that he's actually talking about the real things, or he's talking about things in a real way, and he's being transparent. And he also is claiming that, the tagline of like Cluley helps people cheat on everything is is the truth. People saying that AI is not cheating is just lying. He claims, right? Because he's saying like, in a couple of years, like this is not going to be considered cheating anymore. This is just considered doing. And he's like, people who don't believe that are just lying to themselves. And it's a very interesting tactic that I don't know, maybe a lot of Silicon Valley companies do this, but at least the companies that I've been at, which have been a little bit more mature, I'm going to say mature, it's a very different strategy. And so I'm curious what your thoughts are on some of these things. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton about it other than what you've said today. So I think I saw the ad where the guy was like at dinner
yeah,
and he was like cheating or lying about his age or something. And she could tell, I don't remember the details of it.
it was like the idea was like how to game a date, right? And so
Okay.
he's like on a date with a hot girl. Maybe the implication is she's out of his league or something, right? And so he's using Cluely to know the right things to say and know how to move forward with the date so that he can get the second one or get, all that stuff, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, that was the concept.
As a total side note, I saw somebody vibe coded an app on V0 that said like, it's something like, is this okay to ask a girl? And no matter what you put, it says no. But yeah. I mean, I think I understand his point about like everything like this right now is cheating, but eventually will just kind of be the way everything works. Like I understand that, and I appreciate like trying to be honest in that way. But it also to me is like, is it cheating or is it not? Like he's basically saying it's cheating temporarily, and eventually it won't be. So now, right now, we're going to capitalize on the fact that it's called cheating to kind of get an edge in the market. Am I
Exactly,
reading
yeah.
that right? Like, yeah. So I
Kind
mean,
of,
I
yeah.
understand that. Yeah, and obviously, like I'm personally not somebody who could do a lot of the clickbait stuff authentically, and I think a lot of it has to be kind of like the way your brain works, how you enjoy doing stuff. So like I would have a very hard time working at a company like that just because
Yeah.
like I don't do that with my own stuff. And I think more and more like you're going to have to choose between, in this AI world, especially right now, we're kind of in a race to see who can be the first in a lot of these toolings. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're the best. It just means you're the one that ends up becoming the de facto. So I can see like taking a more viral approach right now as a way to get like a foothold in the market. I would be very interested how it actually plays out in like the corporate culture of a company like that. Like, does that kind of attitude or whatever, does that actually, is that part of the culture? And if so, like that's ultimately not going to be something sustainable, I think, where people are going to want to work, or it'll just be a bunch of tech bros. So I think I'd be more interested in like how much he truly believes it, or how much he feels like this is just the way to get the edge on the market right now. Like buying old accounts, ghost accounts, and just spamming it with videos is an interesting tactic. Recently, I was talking to somebody else in the industry, and they're like, every tech company is a media company. You have to be. And I
Yeah.
think there's a part of that I'm like, that's wise, that's smart. I understand that. Like morally, morally, it'd be hard for me to sign on, but I understand the implications and like the reason they would go for that, because the virality, because trying to like speak truth into, the AI world. But he's kind of having his cake and eating it too, if he's saying both this is cheating and also it won't be in like 2 years. So then do you
Yeah.
undercut your whole strategy, or do you have to like find something else that's just as provocative at that point? So I think it's also maybe not as sustainable is maybe the point I'm getting at. Like it works for now, but is it sustainable? And if it's not, then do you go back to just like normal corporate messaging, or do you find some new viral hook that you can latch onto? Because at some point, it's basically a shock factor tactic, and you can
Yep.
only shock people so many times.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is so random. If your life and I'm going to say your family's life too, depended on you creating a successful AI startup that like was used by, I'm going to say like 1 million people in the next 5 years, and you had to beat out multiple competitors, like would you take this strategy? Like philosophically, like regardless of whether it conflicts with your moral, do you think it works, or do you think it really wouldn't work?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't for moral reasons, but like you said, regardless of that, like as far as just its
Right, like
functionality,
if you had to save your life, like
yeah,
save your own life, like do you think it would work or not? You know, like if you had to make it work, would
yeah,
you
stuck
do
a gun to
something
my
against your
head.
morals?
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I think I'm not sure if it can work past a year or two, because it basically
Yeah,
relies on that kind of viral shock. And so the moment you're past that viral shock the first time, like I would just be curious if you can build something sustainable off of that. The product
yeah,
itself would have to be really good. So maybe if you get them in with the viral shock, and after that, like you don't really have to market to that group anymore. But I think the hard thing about like being so shocking, so viral, like over the top, like we've all seen those Instagram people or the Facebook people who, like the first time you saw their video, you're like, oh, is this real? Like a husband and a wife, or like fighting or doing something dumb, and then you realize that like
yeah,
every video is that. Like
yeah.
by the second or third video you see of them, you immediately swipe away, and it like turns you
But those
off.
accounts still have so many followers, you know what I'm saying? Like even if you're swiping away, they're still
Yeah.
finding a lot of success.
So yeah, it may very well work. I think for me, it's like tech people in particular, and I guess it depends what the product is. I feel like devs in particular have like a way less tolerance for BS. So yeah,
Yeah,
like my grandma might follow it or something, those kinds of Facebook videos, or the general populace might. But devs can sniff out being marketed to so easily that I think I would. I just don't know if it would work for a dev product.
it's not whether or not you can sniff out whether you're being marketed to, because you are being marketed to. There's no question of whether you're being marketed to
Sure.
by any company. So then the question is, would you rather be marketed to with a sizzle reel, or would you rather be marketed to with, some like more like, I'm gonna say genuine rage baiting, like, like they
Yeah.
both are lies, but I think that's Roy's claim is like, we are marketing to you, but we're just being very like transparent about it.
I would want somebody who watches stuff, the majority of stuff I do, to say like, okay, first of all, it provided practical value, whether or not I use that, like the
Yeah.
thinking, the process, like, and I think that you kind of lose in some of the rage baiting. Like it may be more interesting. You may want to use the product more, but like a lot of times the goal isn't practical value. It's just your eyes.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
fair.
think the goal does change the actual tenor and content of the video, or the, whatever the marketing stuff is. So, they talk about like providing like real value ads for people, not just in the dev space, but anywhere. Like that can be a way to genuinely engage with people. Like whether or not you use my product, here it was a lot of thinking about the space that you'll need to understand. Like that's genuinely beneficial to me, even if I don't use whatever product you have. And like you kind of lose that if you go after the rage baiting. And obviously, like it is still marketing, but it's marketing that actually gives me something. And
Yeah.
the rage bait, and maybe it's to like, I'm not somebody who watches a lot of short form stuff. I'm like way too old to do any of this stuff. So like it doesn't capture a lot of my attention. And I just like immediately swipe away from all of that. So maybe I'm the wrong person to ask. And that may be generational. It may be, more cultural, like depending some groups that might really appeal to them. And, but I think for me personally, like I gravitate towards people that I feel like they're providing me value. And then I want to be interested in what they're doing. Like
Yeah.
those are the people that I stick with, or the people I might watch quickly or, explore, or just people who maybe are the more rage bait, but
Yeah.
like it's a different relationship at that point. And
That's
I
fair.
wonder how sustainable that is. But yeah, I don't know. I might just be an old man yelling on my lawn.
I don't think, I mean, I also do not think it's sustainable. What do you think about the actual idea of this product itself? Like a layer on top of everything that you do that's kind of telling, like, do you think that's has product market fit? Like, do you think that would resonate with people? Do you think people would want something like that? I'm curious. Would you
Yeah,
use it?
I would think a lot of it depends on the type of person too. Like, um, again, speaking about like devs in particular, I feel like there's like less tolerance for that kind of stuff, but I could be wrong. And I think there's a new generation of what it means to even be a dev that's coming up, that maybe would be more interested in that kind of thing. Microsoft has its like eyesight thing or whatever it is that sees everything you do on your laptop. I know that they had like huge security vulnerabilities. They rolled it back and then tried again. Like there are these kinds of things. Even macOS has one an app. I don't remember what it's called, but and then Cluley, of course. So I think there is something to this idea. I think obviously the questions to answer are security. Like what do they do with the data? Yeah, how secure it is, the cost. Like processing that much stuff has to cost a lot. And so you can't imagine that they're getting their money entirely just from the paying customers. So there's obviously some kind of bet long term for either like be able to take a market share where they could sustain it, or perhaps some other pitch internally. But so I think those are kind of the questions for me. I think it would be a hard thing for me to want to do something like that universally. I do think it'd be helpful to get like on micro tasks to have, hey, watch what I'm doing here and then like help me process this for this particular thing. But I would want visibility, start,
Yeah.
and that's, I don't want it to be constant. And maybe that is an option in Cluley, or kind of the idea anyhow. And I just don't know enough, but I think it would be hard for me to kind of do the live all the time thing that, like the early 2000s, I'm live 24/7 video feed, but this time to
Yeah.
AI instead of people watching. Like, I think that would
Yeah.
be difficult for me to do in a way that I would actually trust, that I would think
Fair.
is actually sustainable financially, because there's no way they're able to do that financially without a lot of VC
Yeah.
backing, which means they have to get
Yeah.
something out of you. You are
I
the
mean, they have
product.
a lot. They secured a big round of funding, I
Yeah.
believe. See, this is very interesting because I wouldn't mind having it on all the time. I just wouldn't feel as if would need to hide the fact that I'm using it. Like I wouldn't consider it cheating because I would just be like, "Hey, I'm reading off of Cluley right now,"
Yeah.
because like for example, even in this call, right? Oh, I don't know if they actually got funding. Oh, if I had Cluley on,
Yeah. Plot twist. I've been running Cluley this whole episode.
or like I'm pretty sure the CEO's name is Roy. Roy Lee, I'd like to think, but I'm not sure and I might sound very stupid, right? So then it's like, oh, maybe I could have just would have said it on the panel. And I have my notes here, but like it's a lot of notes, so I don't want to scroll through it on this podcast, but if it was just like showing up on my screen, it might be nice, but that requires the product to work very, very well. And also I would just be like, oh, like I'm just reading, oh, like cool, like there's this snippet of information. But I wouldn't try to hide the fact that I'm using it. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like it's just like a little helper.
Yeah. And that is kind of an interesting juxtaposition, where here on the one hand, they're saying, hey, we're just being honest and open with you. But then like their ad, like it's the only one I've seen, like the guy isn't
Yeah.
saying that. He's not
Yeah.
saying like, by the way, I'm reading off Cluley right now. So I do think that like, that kind of self betrays a little bit.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that like, as long as there's visibility, and that's the case even today when you're using AI. Like I talked to a friend recently who just applied somewhere and they asked like, hey, just tell us how you use AI. It's totally fine if you do. And so they wrote down like, here's what I did. Here's the prompts I used. They actually shared
Yep.
those prompts. And they were like, oh, that's great. You know, it's clear that you can use it. You're
Yep.
understanding how to use it. And that's a benefit, not a drawback. But to say like, tell us how you're using it is useful. And it also says something about you as
Exactly.
a dev or, whoever. I do like the visibility aspect of letting people know that you're using stuff like AI, in this case, Cluley. And I like that idea in their like marketing strategy, but it does kind of like cut across the reality of how they're pitching it. So you can't
Yeah.
kind of have it both ways.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see how this company matures, and I'm very excited to hopefully see it maybe crash and burn a little bit for my own entertainment value, but um, also because I don't like the attitude of some of the stuff they're saying. So,
Yeah.
but it'll be entertaining to watch how this evolves, which is
Yeah.
more fun for me. Yeah.
Yeah. They're definitely the kind of company that I would look at and say, like, interesting. I'll be interested
Interesting.
how other people use that. But I'm like, I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
morally, a bunch of other ways, just like the way I don't really do great with marketing that's like on the edge. I just don't appreciate
Yeah.
it. It just feels, it's like when you see a comedian who just constantly is just dropping F bombs and you're like,
Yeah.
just be funny. Like you don't have to fill this in with F bombs because you don't know how to be funny.
I
And I'm
agree.
not saying you couldn't be funny and also be vulgar, but a lot of times vulgarity is a cover for like not really
Yeah.
being good at your job. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe I get from your description of Cluley is like,
Yeah.
we can't really do it, so we're gonna just be vulgar in our marketing and maybe that's too
Yeah.
harsh. So I think that's like just be good, you know?
That's a really good metaphor. Now it makes me want to delve into the complexity of comedians, which is like, again, we can't use our podcast time for that, but like, ugh, I have
All
so
these
many thoughts
spin-off
on that as
podcasts.
well. I
In the
know. Let's start
multiverse, we
another
have a
podcast
podcast
right
on that.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What tool do you have for us today? What new tool?
Yeah, so I've been playing a little bit with Suno, Suno.com. It's an AI music generator and like it's surprisingly fun to do. I mean, and I'm musical myself. Like I played the piano, I played the guitar, I
Yeah.
played percussion a lot in high school and stuff. So I come at it from kind of that creative musical space. I'm like, let's see what this AI thing can do. But it's fun because it's kind of a different like muscle you're flexing. And to be able to play with it, prompt it, like adjust it, kind of hone in exactly what you need it's been fun. I haven't used it for anything in production or anything like that, but it's been really fun to play with. And I've seen other people like give helpful tips on how to interact with their AI. So yeah, I've really, really enjoyed it.
That sounds really cool. I gotta try it out. I mean, damn, Chris, you're giving me so much homework. I did try out Dia
Oh
because we
yeah.
talked about Dia. Okay, my tool is Google VEO 3, but I'll
Yeah.
talk about Dia for a second because we did talk about it in our previous podcast episode. I agree with you. It hasn't been super impressive for me. It really does feel like a ChatGPT panel kind of. I tried to do like comparison shopping because that's something that they
Yeah.
said they do well. Didn't really feel impressed. Like it just felt like it was again kind of even the links it sent me. Half the links were like this product is out of stock. I was like, that's
You should be able
not
to figure that
useful.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then also I kept saying like I didn't want Amazon clothes. It kept sending me Amazon links. I was like, this is I don't know. Can you set rules in Dia? Like maybe I can set a rule that says no Amazon. Like I don't know. Like maybe it was trying to push Prime Day on me or something. I don't know. And then like it doesn't really have any ability to it can only like look at what's on your screen. So like for example, if I was on Google Calendar and I asked it a question, it can't if I'm in the day view, it can only answer a question for that day, but it can't answer the question for that week unless I'm in the week view, which it makes sense, right? Like Dia
Sure.
can only see what you're seeing, but like as I said, calendar stuff is just something I would love for my web browser to do better for me, and so I was just like, well, can't do anything more than what I can do, and it's just not super helpful. So
Yeah, I wonder if they could like interface more with MCPs. Like that would be super interesting
yeah,
if you could like
yeah,
sign into your Google and like
yeah.
they
If I
have
could like
MCPs
do
connected to
stuff,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
They do have
then I
skills that they've added where you can teach you how to do stuff. You have to turn on personalization, but then you can
okay.
like give it specific skills around writing and around code.
I've already taught other tools, so I
Right.
don't want to put in the effort to teach Dia. Yeah. Anyways, but we'll see how the product evolves.
Yeah,
Curious. But I used Google VEO 3 the other day to make AI ASMR art.
I saw that.
Yeah, have you seen the like fruit
Yeah.
cutting videos and stuff? That was super fun. It's really just at the end of the day, it's really just very very detailed prompting. It's like
Mm.
I want a half sheen glass banana with a soft wooden glow, like yellow glow hue with the knife and this. You just like it's a whole paragraph, and then you just feed it into Google VEO 3, and you can use other tools. I haven't tried them, but it's just kind of crazy, like the how I'm gonna say quote unquote
Yeah.
good the video is, and it was really fun to create and watch like what I created. It's free. I mean, you kind of have to spam the button sometimes to get it to actually work on the free tier, but I just spammed like it 50 times and eventually it created my video for me. So,
I like it.
yeah.
I was gonna share
Uh,
a fun tool if that's cool.
yeah.
Not the rhyme, but so I got this new thing called Terminal, which is like TRMNL or whatever. Like it's
Okay.
the classic no vowels thing for tech, but it's like a little e-ink screen that you can write or add plugins to, or you can write your own plugins, and it just will show like your calendar or the weather or all that kind of stuff. And so it sits on my desk. It lasts for like multiple weeks at a time, and so I have yet to write anything like properly like custom to me. But it just refreshes. You can set it to like every 15 minutes or every 24 hours or whatever you want it to do. So, like for instance, I have like my GitHub contributions right here. So it'll just show me like the last year's,
Oh,
how many I've contributed, like how many days in a row, like what my longest streak is, which is evidently 20. One day, I guess I contributed 36 times in a day. I don't know what was happening that day. But like it'll just like show random info, and it has the weather in my calendar and all kinds of other
how do
things.
you upload stuff to it? Is it like an app or something that
So
you?
there's a web interface, yeah, and then you can just it's mostly like you write like a liquid template, but you can write your own custom stuff, and then you just send it up to your particular terminal, and I don't know, it's been really fun to play with.
Well, that's dope.
Yeah,
I have something similar like I think it's like Divum. It's a similar thing, like like these just screens that you can
yeah.
kind of throw something onto, and a lot of like YouTubers will have it in the back of their like videos and stuff because it's like this cute little kind of retro
Is it
screen.
kind of like the rectangle little? No.
They have different sizes, like some are
Okay.
square, some are rectangle, but Divoom. It's something similar.
Huh.
Um, I got one as a gift for Christmas once, and you can tell I don't use it because I'm lazy. But it's like a
Oh yeah, I've seen these before.
screen, yeah. And you could throw out like pixel art there. You can do something similar like weather, like GitHub contributions. I think there's like pre-made boilerplates for like football stats and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, yeah. But yeah, I
Well,
think those
now I'm
are
gonna
really
have to get
cool. It's like
this.
nice to have on your desk.
Yeah, it's been fun to play with, and it's nice to have like key calendar information for my family, or those kinds of things that I just don't really look at as much as I'm supposed to. Um,
Oh, I love that. I don't know if you know this about me, Chris, but I like to dance, but I don't like to dance in front of people. I just like to teach myself dances
Dance on
for
your own.
myself.
Oh, nice.
And I like K-pop as well. So the problem is I can't ever show this. I'm not showing it to you, and I'm not showing it to
This is
anyone
not a
who's
proper
watching.
show and tell until it's shown.
But I'll just tell you guys. I'll maybe play the video that I
Oh,
learned. But I learned like two K-pop dances over the weekend.
nice.
It's not the whole thing. It's like usually like a 15-second dance clip. But I do like to teach myself dances because I think it's fun for me.
So we need to combine these two. You need to take a video of yourself doing it,
I can't.
feed it to Google VO, right? And
And
then
then
make a character version of you doing it, and then
I
that's
would
what we
do
can
that.
share.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll try that.
Hey, well, thanks everyone so much for following along today. We really enjoyed getting a chance to chat over these kinds of things. This was definitely like in Jess's wheelhouse, like she understood it. So I was kind of learning live as we go, but I'd be interested what you think about Cluley as well. Let us know down below. And if there's other topics like this, maybe especially controversial topics you want us to talk over, let us know. But really enjoy it. Thanks so much, Jess. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, Chris. See ya.